G'day everyone, or good night everyone. You can't see anything because it's dark. This is really cool. Right now I'm walking through a swamp, a dried up swamp. But I want to tell you some cool stuff about yabbies. Let's get some light happening first. Now I'm filming this with my mobile phone, so you might see the focus sort of zoom in and out a little bit. All that you can see there, all that green grass, that's the bottom of a swamp. And those trees over there, that's the perimeter of this swamp. Sometimes this swamp will have water in it for 8 or 9 years, and sometimes it can be dry for a couple of years. At the moment, it's going through a dry phase. It's been dry for probably 2 or 3 years. Now, would you believe that there's yabbies out there? Lots of yabbies, heaps of yabbies. Go and get the nets. That won't work because the yabbies are underground. You see, what yabbies do, the reason yabbies are one of the toughest creatures you'll find, they have survived thousands of years of drought and flood by being tough. They have got the most amazing coping mechanisms to cope with Australia's severe climate. See, these lagoons, yabbies live in these lagoons. They don't need fresh water. When it rains and it fills up, the water sits here, then it gets stale and warm, and they thrive. The minute it dries up, what the yabbies do, they go underground. They go down and they look for water. When the water drops and dries up and hits the bottom, that's not the end of the water. That's the end of the water that we can see, but the water stays underground. That might be an inch underground. It might be a foot underground. After 2 or 3 years of extreme dry weather, it might be 3 or 4 metres underground, but the water is down there, and the yabbies will continually dig down to stay in the water. Yabbies can survive underground for up to 5 years. Without eating, without breeding, they lay dormant. Their heartbeat slows right down, similar to what we call a torpor in the reptile world. Their heartbeat goes right down. They go into survival mode. The really slow heartbeat allows them to function on the bare minimum of energy. They won't breed in that state, but what they need, they don't even have to live in the water as such, but they need to be able to keep their gills wet. As long as they can keep their gills wet and stay down out of the hot summer sun, they will survive. Now, this lagoon has been dry for a few years and the yabbies are all underground. But now, the water is just starting to return. Over there in the middle, we'll call that bit the sump. We can see that that's wet, so the water's not far under the surface and the yabbies have just started to come up and stick their head out. Now, have a look at what I've just found. Here is a yabby claw. You can see there's a big hole right there, a big hole of water. There's a fair chance that this yabby was living down there. It's pretty fresh, it's not old, it's dead. Obviously it's quite a large yabby. There's all the legs there, and look at the size of these beautiful big claws. They are quite big. That's quite a large yabby. I reckon, now that there's a bit of rain around, there's a bit of water returning, I wouldn't mind betting that yabby has come up out of that hole and a bird of some kind or something's seen him, just come down and gone bang because his tail's missing. All that we've got is a little bit of head and the claws and the legs. The rest of him is gone. Now, the water in that hole is quite murky. Let's go for a little bit of a walk. I love this kind of stuff. This is something that I just love to do. You can see there's a hole there of some kind going under the ground and there's water in there. A few weeks ago you couldn't see water in a lot of these holes. You could in some, only the deepest ones, but the water is down there. It was down there, so we'll go for a walk now and we'll have a look and we'll just see what we can see. I love this sort of stuff. This is just pure adventure. We've got a couple of holes here. There's a big bit of water there and a big bit of water there, and they're both quite murky, which indicates that there could be a yabby or some yabbies living under that water there in the deep holes. Not all the water is dirty. So you look at some of these holes and the water's quite clear. This bit here, that bit over that side's clear. This bit's a little bit dirtier. There could be something living down there. There's a hole there where there's no doubt something living down. Look at this one here. You can see where something's dug there. You can see the mud all around the outside where it's dug down deep. If we go over here, look, the water's really clear. And the water's clear there too. And it's clear over there. So I'm guessing there's probably no yabbies in that particular spot. Let's go over here into the sump. We'll call this bit the sump. We can see here that the water is really, really clear. I was actually hoping that I might see a yabby walking around in there. Yabbies don't typically like the cold weather, They don't bite in the cold weather, but they still exist. They don't die and then come back. So they're still there, and quite often in the winter you'll see them walking in clear water around the edges of dams and stuff at night time. So there's none there, but the water's really clear, which tells me that there's probably not any yabbies in that particular spot. And what if I go for a walk over this way a bit more? We've got clear water, clear water. There's a bit of an old yabby claw. That's probably one of last year's. Here we go, look, there's an old claw in there. That'll be one of last year's. That real big one that I found just before, that was very fresh. That's obviously just recent. We've got clear water here in these dams. Here we go, we've got a few more old claws here, and a few more old claws up here. They've probably been picked off, you know, one at a time, bit by bit. These little pools of water here are quite clear. Yeah, there's another big claw, look at that one. Here's one of last year's. You can tell he's gone all white and dry and sort of hard looking. This is so cool. I love this sort of stuff. This is like full-blown adventure. What's over here near the logs? There's a couple of trees here in the swamp. Here we go. Now the water, look at the water. There's a big hole just there. And the water's really, really dirty. An indication that there's probably yabbies living down there. Quite often when you do this, you'll actually find a yabby just walking around. They actually cross land at night time sometimes. Now this hole here is pretty clear. He might be empty. Because that one there is pretty clear as well. So how cool are yabbies? How cool are yabbies? They live out here in these swamps. When the water comes up, they come out, they feed, they eat the weeds, the grass, any meat that ends up in the water, any decaying matter. They breed, they multiply, they build up. Then when the water comes, when the water goes back down, the yabbies go down with it and they go underground where they will live for up to 5 years. What can we call this? A nighttime yabbying adventure. What other cool things have we got? Oh yeah, look at this, right next to each other. The water in that pool there is really clear. See how it's clear? Then only about 1 metre away, we've got a pool here. That one's pretty clear. This one's really dirty. I bet there's a yabby living down in there. I can't see any tentacles or claws. He could be down 3 or 4 metres. He could come up and down as he needs to. All I know is that when this fills up, and here we go, look, just over here beside it, we've got another clear one. So there's probably something living down there. All I know is that when this swamp fills back up, the yabbies will come back out, they'll breed, the frogs will come to life, there'll be birds here, and the entire ecosystem will be back in business. How good is that? I love this type of adventure.